Hey, good evening. Thanks again for being here tonight. It's a Monday, March 1st. Great to have you along. Going to continue the thought that we opened up this morning about the temple curtain being torn apart, torn in two. And I'm going to move it out of some of the theological understanding and into the practical here and now where we are. Because what that temple curtain being ripped apart like that means is that you and I have the opportunity to experience the loving, forgiving grace of Christ in our weakness, because He suffers with us in that weakness. See, that's what it took to open the temple up, the curtain up, so we could know this peace. Christ actually suffers the suffering that we suffer. Listen to Hebrews 4. Therefore, since we have a great high priest who has gone through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet without sin. Let us approach then the throne of grace with confidence, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. See, God knows the needs that we face, the hurt that we face. And in verse 15, there's a description of what Jesus has done as a high priest. Remember, the high priest could only go into the Holy of Holies once a year. But now, because of what Jesus did, he becomes the ultimate high priest, where that temple is shredded, and he's opened it up for all of us to be a part with him. And more deeply than that, as verse 15 says, he is not unable to sympathize with our weaknesses. And this isn't just some sort of a psychological, empathetic term. What the Greek carries with it here is the sense that the one who is exalted, Christ, suffers together with us the weaknesses of those of us who are being tempted. Do you get that? Jesus suffers the weaknesses that we face when we're tempted. Our fears weaken us. The cares of this life weaken us. The hurt that we experience in this life. Some of you have been abused. Some of you have lost terrible things. You've been through tragedies. You have, whether it's through earthquakes or storms or disasters or death of close ones. You have experienced temptations which will rip us apart. And what this passage is saying to us is that Jesus is not outside that. He's entered into this with you. He's actually suffered with you in the weakness. He's experienced the weakness in his human form. He experienced the weaknesses that you and I face when we are overwhelmed with fear. We're overwhelmed with the weight of our own sin. Jesus has gone through the veil, opened it for us. And now, he knows us, just as Psalm 139 says. He knows us intimately, and he draws us into the beauty of what it means to know him. He heals us. Can you believe that? He actually suffers with us. It's not just somebody spouting off, I know your pain. He experienced the pain. And yet he was without sin, so he could be firm. And if Christ is firm, you and I can be firm. Christ intimately knows you. As the Proverbs say, we can desire his intimate presence with us. That brings peace. You're not suffering alone. Whatever hurt you may have experienced, whatever abuse, whatever the pain of rejection you may have felt and experienced, and the weight of that, Jesus was there with you. But he didn't crumble and fall. He stood firm so that you and I now have a blessed peace with him. See, that ripped up curtain gave you and me the confidence to boldly go before the throne of God, with him knowing everything about us, reaching out to us, loving us, and seeing us through the eyes of Christ. You may be dealing with an unbelievable weight this night of sins being done to you, perhaps sins you've committed yourself. Jesus has made those things right. He has suffered and is suffering with you, and the full weight of that. He's not unable to sympathize. He is right there with us in our weakness. So that we are tempted, we have hope. And that's such a blessed thought this night. It brings you peace. You don't have to perform. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go through hours of penance. You don't have to beat yourself up. You can embrace the mercy of Christ. Think about that this night. Rest knowing that God has given himself for you in Christ. He knows exactly the hurt that you have, and he's experienced that, but without sin. So as the passage in Hebrews says, he can help us in our time of need. That's what that torn curtain means. Jesus helps us in our time of need. What a rich blessing if we can lay hold of it. Pray that God will do that for you this night. Again, thanks so much for being here. Love your feedback and comments, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the morning. Have a great night. Bye-bye.